Okay, Bismillah. Welcome to Communication, English 101. And since we missed the first week, so we'll move a little bit fast, okay? A little bit faster than usual. Inshallah, next week will be, we'll go back to the normal pace. Anyway, everything I will speak about here is found on Google Classroom. I sent you an invitation, so you join it. If you are not familiar, who is not familiar with Google Classroom? You haven't tried it before? Okay, you'll get an email. Do you know any of those people here? Still? Okay, so somebody will help you, inshallah. But you'll get an email on your college email, and you click join, and you have all of the information there, okay? But if you need help, you can ask any one of them, or you can stay after class or whatever. All right. So this is the syllabus, and it will tell you about how many quizzes. You have 2 quizzes, 2 assignments, and how many marks. Like for the quiz, about 15. For the writing assignments, 2 letters, you have 5 marks. 5 marks. For the midterm, you have 30 marks, and for the final presentation, you have 30 marks. So all of this found online, and let's see. So, quiz, video analysis, week 4, 15 marks, writing assignment, 10 marks, 2 of them, and midterm examination, 30 marks, presentation analysis, 15 marks, that's later on week 11, and instead of the final, you have individual presentation here in the classroom. You next week come with 3 subjects or topics related to your specialization, okay? Bring it that you want to make a research on a presentation, and then choose or pick one of them and assign it to you, okay? So next week come with 3 options for 3 topics related to your presentation or your specialization, okay? And I will pick one for you, and then you start researching now to prepare for presentation at the end of this term or this semester. Okay, quiz 1 will be on week. Quiz 1, where's quiz 1? Okay, quiz 1 will be on week 5. So please remember that. Okay, that's your responsibility. You can print this from Google Classroom. It's there. You have the writing assignments, 1 claim letter and 1 adjustment letter, and that's on week 6 and 7. We'll talk about claims letter and adjustment letter next week. Okay, and you will practice in the classroom and so on. The midterm examination is week 8. Okay, week 8, and the quiz 2 will be week 11, and the final individual presentation is week 13 to 15. Week 13 to 15, we'll have about 3 weeks, depending on. You can speak about 10 to 15 minutes. So you start preparing now, inshallah. By the end of the semester, you'll have more than 15 minutes if you want. It's up to you. So anyway, we're not going to talk about the dress code, you know, absence and dress code and stuff like that. You can read it anyway. And here are the grades. It's online. Excuses, hospitalization, imprisonment, or police custody, family bereavement, la samahullah. Here's the dress code. Okay. So you can read that. You need to dress appropriately. Okay, plagiarism, taking something from the internet and claiming it's yours. Okay, that's not allowed, of course. That's big no-no. And here is the pacing schedule. So week 1, nobody showed up, or only 2-3 students showed up. So that's why we are covering week 2 and 1 a little bit fast. But here is the pacing schedule, week 2, 3, and 4, claims letter, and 5, claims letter, 6, and so on. So you have the information here, it's online, you can print it. And the midterm examination will cover week 1 through 7. Okay, so everything we take from here until week 7 is part of the midterm examination. Okay, this is easy, inshallah. Just pay attention, study like 2 hours every week only. Home, inshallah you'll be okay. So just when you go home today, read what we have discussed so that you don't forget it, and inshallah you'll be okay. There is a good possibility you'll get A+ if you pay attention and work hard. Okay, inshallah you will get A plus. So who wants to get an A plus? Sure? Yeah, maybe, huh? You're not sure about it. Okay. So, any question about this part?
Next week, what I do? I pick any three.
Pick 3 topics for your final presentation, okay? And I'll choose one of these 3.
Any three.
Related to your presentation, to your specialization. What's your specialization? Okay, so something related to electricity power, 3 topics, and I'll pick one of them and say, okay, if it is okay, you can start researching and preparing your presentation on. And that's 30 marks, so that's, you need to start working on it now. Don't wait, no final, just the presentation. So don't wait until the last few weeks. It will not work like 002, that's different. You are now in different category, okay? It's gonna depend on you more, you gotta do more work inshallah, and inshallah you'll get the A. Alright? So let's move to the subject, communication. And Bismillah. Okay, so that's the last one. I haven't prepared this PowerPoint. I have not prepared this PowerPoint, so I'm not responsible for it. Okay, I received it from the teacher. Okay, communication. Because we are in a hurry, we are not gonna do it the normal way. I'm not gonna ask you what is communication and why, because we don't have enough time. So I'll just jump into it. I'll explain it, inshallah. And we'll have more than one PowerPoint presentation on communication. Some of them will overlap, okay? We'll have the same information. Some will have some extra information because I got more than one PowerPoint presentation. So the content of this PowerPoint is what is communication, the process of communication, types of communication, communication barriers, path for good communication. And we'll start. Bismillah. So, what is communication? Communication is the process of exchanging all of the following, okay? Information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, speech, whatever. Okay? Communication is exchanging, giving and receiving information or ideas or thoughts. Now we are doing communication. You are receiving a message from me. Okay? If you have a question, that's a feedback, or you are asking for something, I'll answer you. Okay? I'll give you another message or feedback. That is communication. When you are upset and your face showing you're upset, that's communication. You are telling me you're upset, even if you don't speak. Okay? We'll come to that for the non-verbal communication. Okay? So, it is a process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, emotions, speech, or signals, or whatever. Any message. So, the process of communication. We have a sender and we have a receiver. Okay, you can't communicate with yourself. Just sit in front of the mirror and start talking to yourself. Maybe there's a problem. Unless you are practicing your presentation. Otherwise, something wrong. Okay? So you have to have at least 2 people or 2 parties. Like in this case, you have a teacher here and I have students. So I'm the sender, you are the receiver. When you ask questions, you could be the sender or give me feedback. Okay? So we have a sender and we have a receiver, then we have the message I want to send. Okay, the sender wants to send the message, correct? And how do I send it? It's called the channel or the method. Oral, written, through the phone, whatever. Okay, the channel, the means how to send it. Now the receiver will have feedback. It's really a message also, but they call it feedback. Okay, they call it feedback. So the receiver might ask questions or respond to your message, and they call it feedback. And also he needs a channel. Did he do it through writing or oral, or he just closed his eyes and shook his head in disagreement? Whatever, okay? It's a message. Okay? Any question? Understand? Okay. So the noise and barriers, these are basically barriers, موانع, barriers for good communication or communication. We'll come to that later. We'll list the whole list of different barriers of communication. Okay. So types of communication. We have two types. Okay. Verbal and non-verbal. Verbal communication and non-verbal communication. Verbal can be, of course, oral, speaking, or it can be written, either oral or it can be written communication like memos or SMS or any of that stuff, okay? And the non-verbal communication can be the body language, how I'm behaving, how I'm sitting. If somebody's sitting, you know, I can tell, like, does he care about what he's listening to, okay, or doesn't he care? For example, if I sit like this, you know, okay guys, you know, I care about this classroom, I want to teach you. So this body language is not good. It doesn't give really a good message, right? So that's the body language. And sign language, even, you know, you shake your head in agreement or disagreement, or smiling on your face smiling or frowning, these are signals, okay? If I say this, you receive a message, right? If I say this, stop with my hand, you receive a message. And when you drive, you see lots of messages, non-verbal, correct? Correct? Right? You have stop sign, hand, whatever, okay? And you have para-language, stress, how you use the words, stress, intonations, how you stress the words. That's also, excuse me, non-verbal communication. So these are examples of the sign language, all the symbols, body language, eye contact, but we'll come to that later on, inshallah. The para-language is the stress on words and intonations and how loud do you say the word. For example, oh yeah, I think you are really genius. I don't think I mean that. It's the opposite of me. I don't think you are genius, okay? So you can play with the tones. Oh, you see, you think you are smart. Wow, you're really smart. That's making fun of him, okay? Not really. So it depends how you use the word and the intonation and the stress. Barriers of communication. In this PowerPoint, they will list 7 barriers of communication. In another PowerPoint, they add 2 more. One is called Semantic, and the other one is Physiological and Psychological. So you combine, you're talking about 10. You need to remember 10 and understand it. Because on the quiz, okay, or the midterm, we might ask you or present you with a situation, okay, where the communication is not working, and ask you what type of barrier is it. So you have to understand this. Okay, this is, for example, physical barrier, and how to fix it. Okay, all right. So barriers of communication. Number 1. Sorry, I'm still learning how to use this. So number 1, physical barriers. Okay, if you are speaking behind closed doors, or, you know, on the other side of the wall or the door. These are physical barriers that sometimes will not help communication, right? It will not help communication. I have no idea what's this picture. It's not my business. I'll try to edit it. Probably not. I don't want to waste my time. And so this is perceptual barriers. I don't see any barriers in this case, but I don't know. I think everything is working well. I don't know whether they have worry, guilt, and fear. I don't see them having any of that. No guilt, no worry, no fear. Anyway, so perceptual barriers, idrak, from the word perception, idrak, yudrak. Maybe you think something is right, the other person thinks it's wrong. Okay, idrak. All right, so that's number 2. Number 3, emotional barriers. Okay, let's say they are married and they have a problem. Okay, she's upset, right? And he's trying to explain things or whatever, you know. Most likely, probably he'll end up sleeping by himself tonight, right? On the couch or something. Maybe. So when you have emotional barriers, you are upset about something, you are not happy about something, you hate something, it's hard for you to understand the message, right? Because you are really upset. It will be like you are listening, but you are not really listening, you are not getting the message. Number 4, cultural barriers. So we have here Asian, we have African, and we have European. And it's the first time I know somebody drinking from the faucet with no cup. I didn't see that before. Okay, there's somebody here drinking from the faucet. I don't know. Anyway, so either he's drinking. Yes, he is. Okay, that's strange. Anyway, so the cultural barriers, they could speak the same language, of course. Let's say the 3 of them speak English. Okay, so it's not language barrier. It's not language barrier. It's cultural barrier. It depends what culture you come from. Sometimes, like sitting on the chair with your bottom, with your sole, the bottom of your foot or shoes, showing toward the other person is not acceptable in Arab countries. Okay, that's an insult, ihana. Okay, but in America it's not. So don't be shocked if somebody sits in America like this in front of you. You know, he doesn't mean that. So you should not be insulted because they don't have that in their culture. So he doesn't mean to insult you. So these are the cultural differences that might cause misunderstanding or problems in communication. Okay? So if you are aware of different cultural customs, you lessen you lessen the misunderstandings that could arise. Okay? Any questions so far? Any feedback? Clear, inshallah? Like I said, it's online, so you can check it, and inshallah I will post this video also. So inshallah that will help, if it records correctly. Okay, so we have so far, we have physical barriers, perceptual barriers, emotional barriers, cultural barriers, and now we have language barriers. If I don't speak English, and you don't speak English, and you don't speak Arabic, I don't speak Arabic, or one of us doesn't speak Arabic, well, actually both of them, neither of us speaks Arabic or the same language. So if we don't have the same language, we can't communicate, correct? Somebody speaks Chinese and the other guy speaks Japanese, or Chinese and the other guy speaks Arabic, they will not be able to communicate, okay? So that's called language barriers. Gender barriers, females and males. Differences between females and males. Some females look at something differently, or women and men sometimes think differently, okay? For example, I had the 1994, I remember that. I bought a jacket just like this one. For me, very similar to this one. I still have it from 1994. It's good. So anyway, I was speaking with some teachers at work when I worked, and a female teacher said, it's gray. I said, no, it's brownish. She said, no, it's gray. So I asked another teacher, a male teacher, what do you think? What color is this? He said, brownish. I asked a female teacher, another female, she said, gray. All the female teachers said the color was gray. All the male teachers said the color was brownish. So it's just different way of perceiving things, the color, okay? So it can be gender barriers as well as perceptual barrier, okay? We had different way of looking at things. We thought it's brownish, and the ladies thought it was gray. So that's gender barriers. When you get married, inshallah, in the future, maybe your wife will come to you and say, I wish you understand me. You know, I wish you understand me. And you say, yeah, I understand you. No, you don't understand me. You never understand me. Well, what she means, you don't do what she wants. Okay, that's what she means. When you do what she wants, then you understand her. Okay, so that's gender, perception, whatever, okay? All right, so number 7 is interpersonal barriers. relationship between people. Okay? I don't like you, that's not real. Okay? If you have even good idea and you give me good message, maybe I'll change it. Say, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. No, I don't think this will work because I don't like it, because of our relationship. Okay, so these things affect communication. Interpersonal relationships affect communication. These are the 7 barriers in this PowerPoint. The other PowerPoint will add semantic, which means meaning of words. Some words could mean something different in different cultures. Or, I'm sorry?
Double meaning.
It could be double meaning, could sound the same, but another word for it, another meaning. It could be within the same country. One word is acceptable in the south, but not acceptable in the north, for example. These are semantic. The other one is physiological. Physiological. Okay? Physical, from physical, jismani. Maybe somebody is deaf or can't hear, hard of hearing. Because hard of hearing, hard to hear. Okay? Maybe somebody doesn't see well. So these are physical or physiological barriers. Okay? If you can't hear me well, you will not get the message. If you can't see the projector on the board, the smart board, you will not get the message. Okay? And the other one is psychological. They call it psychological, which is really the same as emotional barrier. Same thing as emotional barrier. So you can add like 2 or 3. You can add semantic, okay, semantics. You can add physiological, and you can add psychological, which is the same as the emotional one we saw here. Okay? Any questions? No? Excellent. All right, so let's path for good communication. Okay? When you speak or when you listen, listen to understand. Now, when you're sitting here, you should be listening to understand, not pretending that you are listening. Okay? Otherwise, you will not get the message that I'm trying to deliver, correct? So, when you listen, listen to understand. And when you want to respond and give me feedback or whatever, you need to understand before speaking. That's in communication. Because if you don't understand before speaking, you might say the wrong thing because you got the wrong message. Okay, so you need to understand before speaking. Then, when you respond, feedback or whatever, you need to speak to be understood, not just to speak. Sometimes, if you might have noticed on TV shows where they have arguments and discussions, 2 parties, this guy speaking and this guy speaking at the same time, right? None of them really is speaking to be heard by the other person. Okay? None of them is speaking to be heard. He just wants to say what he has to say. Okay? But he is not speaking so that the other person will understand, because he's speaking at the same time. Alright? So you need to speak to be understood. And before continuing, like I do with you guys, I ask you, do you understand? Is there a question? So you need to make sure that the person got the message before you continue. You don't continue for half hour, 20 minutes, whatever, and then find out he did not understand you. So it's better to ask, are you getting this? Do you understand? And of course, you can repeat. If the message did not go through, you can repeat the message. Okay? Any questions? If you don't know a word, ask. Don't wait. If you don't know a word or something, ask about it. So let's move on. It's done. The first one is done. So we'll move to the second one, inshallah. And like I said, all of these are found on Google Classroom. I sent you an invitation. So just when you get the email, click on join. Okay? And like I said, you can ask me after class, or you can ask one of your friends. But when you get home or when you leave, check your email, the college email, and you'll have an invitation to join this classroom. You click on join. And then you can see and print and study. I'll post, inshallah, this video also. I'll post it online. I might do some editing. Okay, maybe we'll cover that picture. But otherwise, so this is also online. What makes a good communicator? Okay, an active listener, real listener. Okay, you are really listening. An effective presenter. Okay. You have to be good at what you are doing. You have to, when you do your presentation, inshallah, that's why I ask you to start researching now, so that you know your subject. Okay, you know your subject, and you know how to deliver the message. Quick thinker. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, that's it. I guess these three things. Anyway, the process of communication. In the previous PowerPoint, okay, we had sender, we had receiver, we had channel, and we had message, and from the receiver we had feedback, and the channel, correct? Pretty much this is the same, it's just different format. Here they say source, which is the sender really, okay? And the sender will send a message through a channel, okay? And the receiver will send a feedback or message through a channel also. Pretty much same thing. We have different PowerPoint presentations, that's why they have it differently, but the process is the same. Sender, receiver. The sender will send a message through a channel, and the receiver will give you feedback or a message through a channel, whether it's oral or written or whatever. All right? So, verbal communication channels. Verbal, okay, we talked about verbal and non-verbal, correct? Now, they want to define more verbal. Verbal communication channels, verbal meaning words or speaking. Can be oral, can be written. Oral or written, correct? The verbal, in the previous video, the verbal communication can be oral, words, or written, memos, whatever, letters. So, the verbal here, which is the oral really, face-to-face meeting, just like what we are doing here, okay? We are speaking, I'm speaking to you and you're speaking to me, we are discussing some stuff. So it can be face-to-face meeting or by telephones or internet, whatever means, but it's going to be words, speaking, okay, not written. The written communication channels or ways, methods, letters, emails, memos, reports, SMS, whatever, that's written, okay? Clear? Inshallah? Okay, that's not. What feedback can be? Okay, the feedback, which is message really. Feedback is when you speak, somebody will respond, that's your response, okay, that's feedback. It's a message really. Can be verbal reaction and non-verbal reaction. Verbal reaction, you can say, yeah, I agree with you, or no, I don't agree, and you can speak. Or you can shake your head, you don't agree, or you agree, whatever. That's non-verbal. And of course, can be positive feedback or negative feedback. Can be positive, you agree, or you disagree. Whether it's verbal or not doesn't matter. Okay? 5 tips toward active listening. Understand your own communication style. Be an active listener. Pay attention. Okay? Use normal communication. Give feedback. 6 ways of using non-verbal communication skills effectively. Some major areas of non-verbal behavior to explore. Eye contact. It's very important when you speak with people to look at them. Okay? So don't. Probably your teacher in 002 explained this about the presentation you're supposed to do. You did a group presentation, right? So eye contact is important. I don't stand here and just read for you from the board. This is boring, and I don't turn my back to you or just sit here and talk as if I'm talking to myself. I need to look at you. I need to look at the audience as if I'm speaking with each person. Okay, that's very important. So you start practicing that, inshallah. Facial expressions, تعابير الوجه. Okay, smiling face is better than frowning face in this situation. It depends on the situation, really. But if you are trying to give a good message, make people feel comfortable, okay? You should have somewhat smiling face. Not all the time, but just be smiling. Gestures, you can use gestures. You إشارات. Okay. Posture and body orientation. Posture, الوقفة. How do you stand, okay, in front of people you are speaking with, okay, and how is your body? How are you sitting? Okay, how are you turning your back to your audience? If you are sitting, are you sitting in the correct way and paying attention? You can like hunch forward a little bit. That shows interest. If you are sitting like this, just leaning back, and it shows you are like bored. You are not interested. You have to be here. You don't want to be here. So these are the body orientation and posture. Proximity. What's the meaning of proximity? Distance, مسافة. Okay, how far? Okay, if I come here and teach him, stand here and start teaching him about communication, he's not going to listen to any communication, right? He's like, I feel uncomfortable, and stay away, move away from me, please. So the distance is important, okay? The distance is important, okay? And also it depends on the cultures. But in general, cultures need all cultures need some distance between the speaker and the presenter, okay? This desk, I think you saw it last time, was it? Huh? So we asked for a long cable because this will look weird from standing here or sitting here and speaking with you. It's not comfortable really. The distance is too far. So I asked this desk, for them to move this desk closer distance. This is more comfortable speaking with you guys, correct? So and humor, of course, makes the audience at ease, relaxed. You have a joke here and there, not really. Yeah, you bring the ice, definitely. Yeah, definitely. You can start with a joke and throw a joke here and there during the presentation. Okay, maybe even at the end, people like to laugh. People like to be happy and feel happy. Any questions? Okay, eye contact. These are really, it depends on the culture. Really. Direct eye contact shows confidence. Okay, yeah, it shows confidence. It shows you are interested probably in what the person is going to say or saying. Looking downwards could be listening carefully, guilty, it could be shy, it could be no confidence. Different interpretations really, it depends. Single raised eyebrow, doubting, both raised eyebrows, admiring, bent eyebrows, sudden focus, tears coming out, emotional, either happy or hurt. I don't know, I didn't try this, so I don't know. But I don't think it's very important, so I don't worry about it. But the most important thing for you to realize or know that when you speak, eye contact and body orientation is important. Okay? When you speak, it's important to keep eye contact with your audience and try to look at everybody. Don't just try to look at one section or one person. The others will feel you don't care. Maybe the person you are just looking at would feel like uncomfortable after a while. Why is he just looking at me? So look at everybody. Okay, look around. Facial expressions from facial expressions, you can get the message of happiness, okay, or friendliness, warmth, liking, affiliation. These are positive ones, and negative ones can be like unhappy, sad, whatever.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Warmth.
Warmth, warmth.
How
Person is warm in his relationship. علاقته تكون فيها دفء مش برودة بشكل عام. Okay, he's warm. You feel that's good. That's positive. Okay. When he meets you, for example, he's happy, and he shows you he's happy.
So some reactions that.
Some actually are cold. Sometimes you meet somebody, and he shakes. Okay, this is cold. Okay. I'm not showing you warmth, but when you meet, hi, good to see you, man. I'm happy to see you again. So that's warmth. You feel good. But that's cold. Okay. Good idea, everybody? Okay, warm and cold. Warmth in the relationship, in the meeting, the facial expressions, that's positive. Okay? Something happened. Okay, let's see. facts are not important really. You know, talks about how many muscles in the human body, 630 muscles, and talks about the muscles of the eye move about 100,000 times a day. So don't worry about that, okay? It's just what you need to get is that eye contact is important. We don't care about how many muscles or how many times we use these muscles. And this is the end of it. Okay, let's go to presentation number 3. Presentation number 3. Any questions before that?
Which one of this presentation is more efficient to us to study?
All of them. Study all of them. Okay. You can
talk the same idea.
You can, well, yeah, but some of them like overlap. Like I said, in the barriers to communication, for example, the first one listed 7. Okay. Somewhere here you'll see 2 more.
But the last one, there's something that you say that we don't need it. So
yeah, well, the ones you have video, so you can.
okay. So
Few things, you know, about the muscle and what does eye contact mean? Is, you know, if you are looking forward, looking downwards, does that mean shy? There's few things you don't need. You need more everything almost what I said.
yes.
But few things that I said you don't need. But to be on the safe side, you need everything. Just to be on the safe side. But like, I mean, how many muscles in the human body, or how many times we use the muscles of the eye 100,000 times a day? Nobody's gonna ask you about that. Okay. So that's what I meant. Okay. All right. So let's move on. So you can like print the longest one if you want. If you don't want to print all of them, print the longest one, and then study the other ones and take notes. Read the other ones and take notes. Add to the previous, to the one you printed. You can do that if you don't want to print all of them. Okay, effective communication. All right. So we have, what is communication? Communication is the art of transmitting, exchanging, basically, you know, same thing, this is another definition. Knowledge, ideas, information, experiences, and thoughts from one person to another, from one person to a group, from a group to a group. It doesn't matter. You have sender and you have receiver. That's the idea. The receiver understands the meaning and the intent of the message and gives proper feedback. Another message. Feedback is another message, basically. So you have sender and you have a receiver. You have a sender and you have a receiver, and you have a channel with a message, and the receiver has feedback with a message. Okay? Same idea, different format, basically. Same idea of what you saw earlier, different format. Like I said, you can print the longest one, and then read the other ones, and if there's differences, add them to the one you printed. Okay? That's two-way communication. So if they ask you about the two-way communication, okay, one-way communication is one person speaking, and that's it. Two-way communication, the receiver will respond with the feedback, okay, and you have, of course, barriers here, okay, which we studied, different barriers, 7 of them, plus we get probably 2 more. This is important to remember, okay. 7 C's of effective communication. Okay? So, for transmitting effective written or oral messages, certain principles must be followed. Okay? These are, they call them 7 C's, okay? Because they start with C. Right. So, completeness, complete information, not half information, okay? Complete answers. Conciseness. Be brief, short. If the message deserves or needs 2 sentences, don't write 10 sentences. Write 2 sentences. If it needs 3 sentences, write 3 sentences. Get to the point. Okay? So be brief, short. Clarity. It has to be clear. Right? If the message is not clear, confusion, misunderstanding will happen. Okay? For example, if I am the owner of a factory and you are a worker there, or supervisor, or whatever, and they say to you, okay, I want 100 pieces of the cups. I want 1,000 cups that day. And in the company, they make different kinds of cups. My message is not clear, right? My message is not clear because what kind of cup? Glass cup, plastic cup, plastic cup, glass cup, cup with the hand, okay, handle on it or not. So I mean, all kinds of different specifications. How big is it if we make different sizes? So the message has to be clear. Correctness. When you speak, give a presentation, for example, use the right level of language and accuracy of facts. Don't make up your own facts. Don't make things up. Speak the facts correctly. Okay? Speak your facts. If I say, if we talk about the population of Saudi Arabia, I say, oh, Saudi Arabia has a population of more than 40 million people. Somebody might say, where did you get this from? That's not true. So you lose credibility, مصداقية. You lose credibility if you present facts that are not facts, or present ideas or opinions as facts. So be accurate. Okay? Accuracy of facts. Consideration, put yourself in the receiver's place. Empathy. Feel from their point of view. Think about what they are thinking. Okay? So your presentation will be better. If you are speaking to a group about something they are not interested in, your message will not get through, right? And they'll be bored also, and like, okay, when is he going to finish? Why did he ask to come here? So it's important to think of and consider your receivers, your audience. Courtesy. What's the meaning of courtesy? Like tahdib, how to behave with people nicely. Okay? So be sincere, tactful, thoughtful, appreciative, تتقدر. Concreteness. What's the meaning of concreteness? This is concrete. خرسان. That's concrete. Concreteness, something solid, specific. Okay? This is concrete. Tables, concrete. Computers, concrete. Love, faith, hate, sadness is not concrete. Okay? Abstract. You have abstract nouns and concrete nouns. So you can't say I have some faith in me. Okay? You can't have you have to say I have some faith. You can say I have some riyals, I have some pencils, some pens, something I touch. That's concrete. Something specific. Okay? Not vague. Vague. V-A-G-U-E. Vague. Wrong. Okay? Sorry? Yeah, you need something concrete, specific, واضح, ومحسوس. Okay, so remember these, please, okay? And now they'll probably explain it later. So types of communication, we spoke about verbal and non-verbal, same idea there. You have the verbal, written, and oral, okay? They added visual here. And non-verbal, we spoke about it, but what is non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication without words, basically. Signal signs, facial expressions, eye contact, all these things are non-verbal communication. Process of communicating through sending and receiving wordless messages. So if I put my palm behind my ears, you get a message. What kind of message do you get? I can't hear you, please speak louder. There's too much noise. Okay? So these are non-verbal communication. Okay, if I say this, if I shake my head either sideways in America or in the Middle East upward, what does this mean? If I say it like this? You. No, if we are speaking, if you are talking to me. You are talking. And I say it like this.
Answer me.
What's the signal for no in Saudi Arabia? Without words. Well, how do you shake your head? Huh? You don't have that? In America they go like this. Means no.
It's not towers.
Huh?
It's no like or something.
You raise your head up? No, you don't have that? Do you have it or not? Okay, how do you say no without saying no in Saudi? Okay. Okay, but that's verbal. Okay, in America they shake their heads right and left, means no. Other Arab countries other than Saudi, for example in Palestine, is no. Okay, that is no. In America, it will not mean, that's the cultural barriers and differences. In America, if somebody says this, they will not understand. You have to do this. That's no. Okay. So these are non-verbal or wordless messages. Okay. Not important. Verbal communication and non-verbal communication before moving forward. Let's keep in mind that verbal communication and non-verbal communication are interconnected. They are not separate from each other. Okay? Speaking with you and I smile, that reinforces what I'm doing. Okay? Alright? When I say the north and point to the north, it reinforces what I'm doing. Inshallah, that's the north. Okay? We know that's the east. But anyway, if you are giving directions to somebody and you say go north and you point to the north, you are reinforcing with Kawi what you are saying. Okay? So, so the non-verbal communication can be used to repeat the verbal message, like pointing to the direction while stating directions. Used to accent a verbal message, make it stronger. Complement the verbal message, but also may contradict. So, a wink, for example. What's the name of a wink? Wink. Ramza, huh? Okay, gives the opposite meaning, correct? For example, I can say, he's very smart, huh? Means the opposite, okay? So these can be reinforcing the down, or the opposite of the verbal message. If I say something and wink.
It's depends on your body language.
Well, he's really smart. I'm speaking with him. He's really smart, huh? Because the opposite basically, correct? So, regulate interactions, non-verbal cues convey when the other person should speak or not speak. Okay, so also if I point to you, like you raise your hand for example, you want to speak, right? If I point to you with my palm, okay, or with my finger, means you can't speak, correct? So it regulates non-verbal cues convey when the other person should speak or not speak. If I do this, enough, means enough. If I point to it, or if I raise my palm towards you, stop, enough. Okay? You are unlucky that you're speaking the person usually towards you. Okay, stop. You don't want him to feel he is being targeted. Okay. So, just read this, understand it. I mean, it's not non-verbal message allow people to reinforce or modify what is said, convey information about their emotional state. Non-verbal communication, you know, if my face is sad, you know that my emotional state is not good, sad. If I'm smiling, it means happy. Define or enforce the relationship between people. How close you stand with somebody. It defines your relationship with that person. With your wife, inshallah, in the future, she can stand touching your shoulder, side by side, okay? You will not feel uncomfortable, okay? With somebody different, stranger or something, you might move away. But I don't think you will, but you should, I guess. Provide non-verbal messages, okay, provide feedback to the other person. So if I shake my head in America like this, I'm telling him I disagree, no. If I do this, nod forward, move my head forward, Yes, I agree. If I raise my eyebrows, more like this, shrug my shoulders. In America, if you shrug your shoulders, like you don't know, you don't care. Okay. So these basically provide feedback even if you don't speak. And regulate the flow of communication, when to say, when to start, to finish, when you're sending to others that they have finished speaking or wish to say something. Somebody can raise his hand, for example, means they want to say something. Okay? All right. So you have, these are just different interpretations. Okay? So, I mean, it's not science, you know. Hands resting on the desk, it doesn't mean something. You know, so it depends what culture you are from. Body movements, for example, hand gestures or nodding or shaking the head. It depends also from culture to culture. These are the different types of non-verbal communication. Body movement. And posture, how you're standing, how, okay, for example, oh, sorry. Okay, so, all right, so I don't think she is like standing in business, I think it's like personal, okay, the way she's standing is like personal thing, you know, I mean, she's talking about personal stuff with a friend or something, okay. Here, says high power poses. Okay, could mean also he's happy, could mean he doesn't care, he's relaxed, he's the boss, whatever. I mean, really the interpretations are different from one country to another. You know, here he's shy, he's sad, he's unhappy, he's whatever. Different poses. These are called posture. Or how you stand or sit, whether your arms are crossed, and so on. So one of the things, when you do your presentation, inshallah, you shouldn't put your hands in your pocket, you know, especially all the time, speak like this. That's not recommended. Gesture of interest. This just depends on the culture, really. So it's not 100%. So if somebody's sitting like this and thinking, so it's like they are interested. If the hand is closed and resting on cheek with index finger extended toward temple and not used as head support, this indicates interest. He's interested in what you're saying, he's thinking, so it's just this cultural thing, it's not science. Men tend to hold head in a vertical position, whereas women tend to tilt their head when using this gesture. Women might do this, that's supposedly, we don't know for sure. And men, their head stays the same. But I don't know if I go like this, and so what's wrong with that? I don't know. So they are saying women will tilt their head, men will keep their head vertical. Okay, but this is nothing important. Okay, this is nothing important. Nothing important really, just an idea, is he bored, is he in trouble, it depends really. So these just guesses. Eye contact is important, that's what you need to know. Eye contact is important. Body language, here is like happiness, submission, fear, afraid, dominance and control, sadness, paralanguage, the way in which you say words, the volume, the pitch, nagma, the nabra, speaking rate, how fast, voice quality. It tells us about you. If somebody is scared, you can feel it from his voice, for example. If he's nervous or something like that. So you can tell his speech is not normal. And this is the closeness or the proximity or personal space, okay? Also this is open to interpretation, guessing, okay? It's not 100%, the distance and stuff like that between people. Intimate, they're close, personal, social, public, whatever. Alright, so facial expressions include smiling, frowning, and even blinking. Okay, so this is winking, this is blinking, رمش. Okay, you blink. Wink, that's a wink. He's closing his eyes, closed. Is he thinking Obama? I don't think he's frowning, he's maybe thinking. That's not frowning, but it doesn't matter, as long as you know the meaning of these words. Now, here are physiological changes. It happens when people speak or in public or whatever. Presenting, sweating, or blinking more when nervous. Some people sweat. It's hard to control that, really. It's hard to control that. Okay, culture differences and non-verbal communication. We spoke about that. These are the cultural barriers to communication. Here are just some examples, Slouching, rude in most northern European areas. Slouching, you go forward like this. You don't stand well. Hands in pocket. If you are speaking with somebody, if you go to somebody important, boss or something, you don't stand in front of them like this. You go usually with your hands in front of you like this to show respect, correct? That's a cultural thing. Sitting with legs crossed says offensive. Insult. Okay. In Ghana or Turkey, even in Arab countries, not acceptable even in Arab countries to go to somebody, your boss or something, and you go like this. He might put your foot down. Okay, so it depends on the culture. Showing soles of feet. Offensive. Thailand, Saudi Arabia, all Arab countries. You don't sit across somebody and you do this.
Disrespect.
Yeah, offensive, yeah. In America, they might do that, so don't be offended. They don't have that. They don't have that thinking, okay? So in America, he doesn't mean it. If an Arab guy does this, he means to offend you because he knows. But in America, he doesn't mean to offend you because their culture does not have that. It's not offensive. So just read these and understand them. I think we are done with this part. Any question? Okay, let's see. We have the last one of the PowerPoint. This is the last one for barriers to communication. Here we have two more of the barriers. Okay. So, barriers to communication. There are three levels at which communication takes place. Noticing is done with the senses, and it is at the physical level. Understanding, intelligence, acceptance at the emotional. Just concentrate on the barriers to communication. That's what you need to concentrate on, the barriers to communication. They'll have here 5. The other one had 7. Okay, remember the 7: physiological, conceptual, language, and gender, and emotional barriers. We have 7. So here, first one, same, physical barrier. We had language barriers, and here they added semantic barriers, okay? Meaning of words. What does this word mean? They added psychological, but it is the same as emotional barrier in the other one. Socio-society, مجتمع, حضارة. Gender is the same, gender barriers. Cultural barrier is the same. So really we have physical, okay? If you call it physiological, that's different than physical. Okay, and language barriers.
3 and 5, it's not the same.
3, psychological is the emotional. 3 and 5?
3 and the 5.
3.
Culture, اللي هي social and culture.
This is psychological, نفسي.
Okay, so
Psychological, نفسي.
I hear you say social, so.
Socio-Psychological برضه لها علاقة بالمجتمع sociology علاقة بالمجتمع فهذه حضارة وثقافة. Okay, so this was the same, this was the same, and this was the same. Psychological here is the emotional in the previous one. It's the same, emotional, psychological, how you feel, upset, not upset, happy or not happy. So physical barriers here, for example, the place, okay, the noise, time and distance, information overload, and there's more explanation, you can read that. The place or location where communication process takes place can become a barrier to effective communication, like in the picture here. You know, lots of people in the workplace and everybody calling everybody, so it's hard to hear the noise and the distance and time. You are calling somebody in China or something. So large working areas, closed office doors, separate areas for people of different status. These are barriers to communication. Noise is a physical barrier to effective communication. Noise may have its origin from an external source, some people working outside, okay, or may exist even in the communication loop. Physical noise, outside disturbance, psychological noise, ذهنية. You are thinking of something else. You pretend you are listening, but something else is in your mind. Written noise, bad handwriting, typing, you can't read what your boss or whatever written, that's noise, they call it like noise. Visual noise, late arrivals of employees, okay? So if somebody comes in now, it's like disturbing to that class. Time and distance communication is found obstructed, معوق يعني, يوقف. In long distance, for example, communicating between two continents, like between America and Singapore. Singapore is not a continent, but that's fine. And proper time, الوقت غير مناسب. That's bad communication. It's not time. Sometimes it's not time for this. Okay, sometimes somebody go and ask for something, there's another time. Okay, if you insist, you're not gonna get it probably. Again, it's not time for it. This is not the right time. So it's good to choose the right time. Defects in medium of communication, there's a problem in the channel. Network and mechanical breakdowns, sometimes these things happen, so it will be a barrier to communication. And too much information, probably like this class. Okay, but we have it online, alhamdulillah, everything, so you can go and read again. But because we missed last week, so we need to move on. I have a class who missed the class yesterday, so I'm trying, inshallah, the video will help them. I'll have to give them extra classes. That's working. Inshallah, it's working. Okay, semantics and language barriers. We spoke about language barriers, inability to converse in a language that is known by both the sender and the receiver is the greatest barrier to effective communication. Okay, if you don't speak the same language, it's hard to communicate, correct? You're going to try to communicate by signals, and signals could mean different things in different cultures. So when a person uses inappropriate words while conversing or writing, this semantics, it could lead to misunderstanding between the sender and the receiver. Okay, some words in the north or in one country could mean different things. For example, I'll give you an example. In postpone in America, postpone a meeting to make the meeting later. For example, there's a meeting tomorrow and they postpone it. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow's Friday. So they make it like Sunday or Monday, postpone it. English is used in India, okay? So they made a word, prepone. So the meeting is next Monday, they make it Sunday. It's okay, that's postpone, this is prepone, okay? So they made a word, an English word in India, and they know it, all Indians know it. But if an Indian guy speaks it to an American guy, I want to prepone our meeting. What? Okay? So these words, the meaning, he doesn't get it, he doesn't know it. And some words sound the same, but they have different meanings. lead, for example, يقود. Okay? The past tense is led. led رصاصة المعدن. Okay? تبدأ بنفس الشيء. lead, L-E-A-D, L-E-A-D. But lead and led. والماضي من lead يقود, the past tense is led. Okay? So, it's important when somebody speaks to be clear about what he's speaking. Okay? So, let's see, different languages, that's a problem. No clarity in speech for the language. Either different languages or you don't understand, even if I speak English, but you cannot understand what I'm saying, my speech is not clear, that's a barrier to communication, as we speak different languages. Alright, so jargons, use of specific phrases and words by writers in particular situation, profession, or trade. Example, digital multimeter, Bravo, Charlie, Alpha. Who can tell me about Bravo, Charlie, Alpha? Probably you heard it before. Usually code in the army, usually. If you say P, Bravo means B. That's what it is. Charlie, C. Alpha, A. That's what it is. But if you are on the radio during wartime and stuff like that and say P, did he mean B or P? It's not clear. Okay? So did he C or S? Not clear. So they use words. So there's Bravo, he can hear Bravo. So he knows B. Charlie, he knows starts with C. Alpha, okay, starts with A. So they know this is used among them. So they know it. So the point is, when you speak with people, and you have certain specialty, and you are not speaking to those people who are specialized in your area, don't use jargons. Okay? Okay? Because not everybody understands it. Okay? If I'm speaking with IT people and they say, I have MCSC, they understand what I'm saying. But if I'm speaking to you or mixed group, some people will not understand. So I have to say, I have Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer Certificate. Then I can say after that MCSC. And after I keep saying MCSC. After I explain. So explain, if you have certain words used in a particular profession or trade, you need to explain it before you continue. Okay? So these just examples of homophones. Pale, different meanings, same sound. Alter. So alter يغير, alter مكان for sacrifice of goat or sheep. قربان مكان تعمل تذبح فيه شيء. Buy. So same. Okay. If I say, you have to be specific really to use it correctly because they sound similar. So the pronunciation is the same, spelling is different, and the meaning is different. But these are just examples, don't worry about it, okay? Homographs, spell it, so polish. So the pronunciation is different, but the spelling is the same. This is polish, which means to make something shine. You polish the furniture, you polish your shoes to make it shine, okay? Polish the country, no, Polish furniture, okay? Holland. Okay. This is the same thing. Lead, he could lead, يقود, if he would get the lead out. الرصاص. Lead, lead.
Teacher,
yes.
Can you get back, please? Come on back.
Okay, so there's not back, there's forward. Now we go back. Okay.
What is the meaning of rain and
rain, sound rain. حكم ويمسك بزمام الأمور وفتح حكم شخص. This one, rain. Rain, مطر. We can find in the dictionary. Yes, what's your question? Pale, وجه شاهد. Okay. وpale زي سطل. You can find these in the dictionary, but don't memorize them, okay? Don't memorize them. They're just an idea. We're not going to test you on this. there are hundreds of things that are similar to this. So don't worry about it. This just give you an idea of to be specific with words. They just so never desert, okay, your friends in the desert. لا تترك. Desert يترك. Desert Sahara. So close the window. This is a verb. Close the window before the bee gets too close. قريبا. Okay. These are examples that you have to be specific with your language. That's all. You don't have to remember them and stuff like that. Denotations and connotations, don't worry about it. Socio-psychological barriers, like emotional barriers, okay? And socio for society, مجتمع. So here we can see a group of girls, like طبقات, watching American movies for teenagers or high school. Usually in high school they have a lot of this stuff going on, so better than other students and stuff like that.
Racism.
Not necessarily racism, no, not necessarily racism. They are better than others.
The same concept.
They are not based on color.
Yes.
Okay, but they are discriminating other people from looks, the way they dress, stuff like that. So, what is psychological barriers? It's really the emotional. Psychological barriers can be described as the cause of distorted communication because of human psychology problems, psychological problems, okay? Emotional problems. Okay, so if you are in a bad emotional state, it's hard for you to communicate or receive the information. If somebody is upset and he's shouting, and because he's upset about something, and speaking quickly, and you can't understand him, so that affects the message. If he is in trouble with his wife, he had a fight, the teacher has a fight with his wife, and he comes in the morning to the students, and he's upset, and he says, get your hands out of your pocket. You know, so psychological problems affect how people behave and how they move. These are just examples, don't worry about them, understand them, okay? It's just to understand it. Type of psychological barriers. Some of them are not really psychological, some of them I think are physiological, like poor eyesight, okay, that's physiological. Okay, there's so a couple of them. Tiredness, that's physiological. Poor retention, that's physiological. So about 3 of them are not. So if somebody, health issues are physiological, it's not psychological. So trust, ثقة, that's psychological. Discomfort, same thing. Emotions, just read these, understand them, so that if we present you with a situation on the test, describe situation, you decide, is this physical barrier, is this psychological barrier, is this gender barrier, is this conceptual barrier, is this language barrier, semantic barrier. So we just get an idea of these things. And cross-culture, which is cultural barriers. Okay, we did that, so we don't have to do it again. Different cultures interpret things differently or behave differently. Some people shake hands, some people bow, some people have signal for no, raise your head up, some people sideways, okay? So an American might think of an Indian guy doing this as saying no, okay? But the Indian guy is this friendly gesture. In India, there is a friendly gesture. I don't know how to do it, but they shake their head, friendly, wadud, okay? So somebody might think, oh, they disagree with you. They're speaking diplomatically. How do you disagree with me? I didn't say anything yet. So just cultural thing. We did that, so we don't have to do it. Shaking hands, bowing, whatever. In 002, you study about the different cultures, and for example, gifts. In Arab countries, when somebody brings you a gift, you don't open it, right? You wait until they leave, then you open it. In America, you open it in front of them. Who, you didn't study 002? Okay, you did, no? Remember that? About the gifts. In our country, if somebody gives you a gift, I come to your house with a gift and put it on the table or on the floor. Do you open it immediately? No. You wait until I leave, huh? Then you shout and say, what kind of gift is this? I know. In America, they want you to open it in front of them. If you don't open it, they say, open your gift. He tell you, open it. Okay? If I tell you that here, open your gift, you think, so what he brought me a gift? He thinks what's wrong with him? So it's different cultures. Same thing here. She's too close. He's not happy with her closeness, but she's thinking he is unfriendly. Maybe in her culture, it's friendly to be close. In his culture, maybe he needs distance. Okay, so he's thinking, okay, this is too close. Stay away from me. Are you crazy? And she's thinking, okay, why is he moving backwards? He's unfriendly because of the different cultures. That's basically it. Okay, so this guy now is confused, not knowing what to do. Does he go like this, shake hands? Does he bow? So just the different cultures. Each culture has its own rules about proper behavior which affect verbal and non-verbal communication. Whether one looks the other person in the eye or not. Not all cultures like looking in the eye. Some cultures don't look in the eye because they respect you. Okay, so not all cultures are the same. You can just read this later on. Gender barriers. This barrier arises because men and women have different ways of thinking and communicating. Okay, different ways of thinking. And we're done with that. I have one more thing to show you. Inshallah, it will be okay. We have this good. Print it, please. This goes through, it's like a summary. It's a summary of the major types of barriers and solutions. Okay? Summary of the major types of barriers and solutions. Print it, study it. This will list the different barriers, okay, and examples of these barriers and solutions for these barriers. So on the quiz or something, if you are asked or presented with a situation, you have to decide what kind of barrier it is. And maybe they ask you to suggest solutions for this barrier. Okay? So you have physical barriers. For example, large working area, closed office doors, separate areas for people of different status. Let me see if I can enlarge it. So physical noise for outside disturbance, psychological noise, inattentiveness, adam intibah, written noise, bad handwriting, for example. These are examples of physical barriers. And solutions of physical barriers: appropriate seating arrangements, environment comfort, ensure visibility and audibility, minimize visual and or oral distractions. These are just examples. Read them. Let's see. I could make it larger. This is good. So this is not bad. So semantic and language barriers. These words are known as, well, we just went through these, so about the different words and meaning of words. Okay. Solution for semantic barriers: use of simple language, symbols and charts, translator, body language and gestures, active listening. Socio-psychological barriers: you have cross-cultural barriers, language, values, social relationship, concept of time. Time is not that important in the Arab world. Say meet you at 7, maybe you come at 7:20. Well, but in general. Definitely, it depends on the person. But in general, it's not important in the Arab world. But you'll find people that would like to be on time, definitely. But in America, it's important. Meet me at 6, okay, maximum 6:05. Okay, after that, you're late. What happened? If it is a meeting, business meeting, you're in trouble probably, unless you really have an excuse. If you have an interview, especially you have interview, I mean, it's like first time impression. Okay, then you need to be on time. Okay, so solutions for cross-cultural barriers: understanding traditions and customs of other cultures, information of all sides of culture, and acceptability. You have to accept the way people behave, as long as it doesn't really contradict or conflict with your faith. organizational barriers, loss of distortion. You have examples here, and you have solutions. And I think pretty much umbrella. So the summary and also this is also online. This is just like role playing. For example, number 4, give directions to a tourist in your country. He needs to know where the nearest Corniche is located. So one guy will act as a tourist, and the guy will act as a person living in that country. Basically, how to communicate. He'll ask you about where the beach is, for example. So you have different ones here. We would have done it if we had the time, but if you want to do one, we can do one. Okay, number 3. I like number 3. A husband comes home late after office and his wife interrogates him and has a quarrel. 5. Role play. I don't know why it says role play, but I didn't try this. So I did not try this. Role play the situation to make it clear to the audience. Yeah, who wants to be the husband and who wants to be the wife? Who wants to do this? See the culture is different. In America, they'll do it immediately. Nobody will. They will not think of it. Just they'll play. In our culture, no. Unless you're the husband, then okay, maybe. So these are cultural things, but these role play, basically how to deliver the message, and use the correct words to minimize the barriers. Now she's like, in this case, it's emotional barrier, huh? They have a fight, and she's his wife, and he is her husband. Okay, so there is a relationship between them. So it's gonna be emotional barrier. Okay, it's gonna be emotional problem. So is she gonna listen? Is he gonna respond the right answer? Okay, like one time a woman calls her husband. She calls him on the phone and says, "Where are you? Come home, where are you?" And he says, "I'm at my mom's. I'm visiting my mom." And she says, "Okay, hurry up quickly because your mom is with me waiting for you." So he's going to be in trouble, huh? All right. Any questions? I think, inshallah, we covered everything. And next week we'll start with the adjustment letter. Inshallah, I'll put for you next Sunday, I'll put the material for the adjustment letter and for the claims letter. Okay? So print it. Bring it with you on Thursday. Print it and look at it. Prepare it. Okay? When I start next Sunday with the new week, I'll start with a new group on Sunday. So I'll start with the claims letter and adjustment letter. So print it and bring it with you. It will be good to do that, to have an idea how